Motion's been seconded. I gotta say, I'm relieved to get this. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of back and forth, a lot of figuring out how we're gonna do this, whether by commission, like we do with the Smith Harris House, and then having a friends group just be the fundraisers and the caretakers, or by doing it this way. And here we are, and this is what the group wanted. Who are the most important people here, because they're the ones with the hammers and the screwdrivers in their hands. So, but we're they've been doing the work anyway for 3 years, and they will continue. And we're more than pleased to support this house. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstain? Opposed? Any abstain? Wow. Okay. Ex officio report. There is no unfinished business. There are no communications for the record. So, ex officio reports.
Where are you starting? Down here. Harbor Management on June 21st. Just Mr. Longrigan, he's going to be harvesting oysters in Nyack Bay. He's plans to be ready in September.
Great.
I believe they're doing GIS mapping of all the moorings, which will be put into the system. They also got a new recording secretary. If anyone knows, they've been bouncing. They haven't had a consistent recording secretary, so they have a new recording secretary who is now a town employee.
Is her name Ruth?
No, Mary Jane Gaudio.
Okay.
And finally, as I've been telling you for a long time, they're still waiting for the state DEP to get back with them on their review of the harbor management plan. They did get a request from DEEP to add a living shoreline section to their plan. And the commission, I think, wisely discussed it and agreed to submit it to the Planning and Zoning Commission to a review, as it does relate to coastal area management and stuff like that. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Salerno. Mrs. Hardy.
Okay. The Zoning Commission has primarily been dealing with renewal of permits for outdoor dining, and there are several still to come before them for renewal. But there have not been any problems with it, and people seem to be enjoying the privilege of the outdoor dining. They've also been looking at reviewing regulations to allow beekeeping in certain areas of town, and they will meet again tomorrow night. They and the Aquifer Protection Committee will both meet tomorrow night. That's it.
Wow.
No, yes. Okay. All right, I had Parks and Rec, and as I think it was already mentioned, they voted to approve unanimously the placement of the band shell. And they also approved at McCook's, if you're walking up from Hole in the Wall, about 2/3 of the way up on the right, they're going to be installing, I'll try to get the word right, labyrinth.
A labyrinth. Yeah.
For people to go in just to relax and walk around it and so forth like that. There's a group that's going to install it, and they'll maintain it.
So meditation.
A meditation.
Yeah.
It's an area
really
to
cool.
meditate. It was agreed to the location, so it's about 2/3 of the way up. Like I said, if you come from Hole in the Wall up to the McCook's towards the pavilion on the right side, and they're going to inlay the stone and everything like that, and there'll be sort of the same type of dust that's on the trail up there. So it won't, because one of the concerns Parks and Rec has, will this be more maintenance for the Parks and Rec crew? No, it won't. They'll just have to cut around it, but that should be in within the next month or so. And that's was it for Parks and Rec. They had their meeting at McCook's to celebrate the beginning of summer, and it went off very nicely.
Thanks, Mr. Siri.
Thank you.
Selectman Siri.
It took you a while to figure the name.
Selectman Cheeseman.
As I mentioned before, I attended the meeting of the Planning Commission last night where the commission voted to approve the McCook's band shell as consistent with the plan of conservation and development of the town, with particular reference to section 5.1, which relates to opportunities to enhance recreation for the residents of the town after extended discussion. That is my official ex officio report. I would like to point out that it is the year of the submarine, as many of you will know, celebrating 100 years of submarines in eastern Connecticut. In conjunction with this, a number of artists were commissioned to create 21 small submarines. Niantic is privileged to have had one installed on Tuesday. Dominion commissioned one, and they requested that it be placed at the Children's Museum. It's a beautiful rendering with Neptune and starfish. There's a plaque commemorating the fact that this was in fact paid for by Dominion. There is an app. You can put it on your phone and follow the subtrail, and we were very excited to welcome it, and I'm pleased that Niantic can participate in this, and I would urge everyone not only to come see our sub in downtown Niantic on Main Street, but also the other subs in the subtrail. I think it's wonderful that our community can be included in this recognition of 100 years of submarines in Connecticut. So, and that is my report.
Let's be clear. As executive director of the Children's Museum, you're always welcome. Part of
Thank
your
you.
ex officio reports, because you are in the community and doing that, and you're also chairperson of the library.
President of the library.
President of the
board, yes.
library. So anytime you want to report on any event that we might be involved with in our community, it should come up here. So
Thank you for your indulgence, but I do feel this is a great thing
It's
for
a
the
great
town,
thing.
and particularly downtown Niantic, it may draw some more people in who are following the trail. So I encourage everyone to come and take a selfie in front of it.
oh my.
Thank
And
you.
then hashtag fantastic Niantic.
And
that's
Children's
what we're going
Museum,
with.
yes.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. So
Well, as a segue into my ex officio report, on the topic of submarines, if you're ever down by the Thomas Lee House and going to the barn behind there,
Right.
Ezra Lee developed the Turtle, which was probably the first submarine. And there are drawings and artifacts in there. It's absolutely fascinating. I'll certainly say the courage of those submariners to go in that device are unparalleled. It was amazing how it worked. But anyhow, that's a little side note. I did attend the Smith-Harris Commission, and of course they're very concerned about, as all of these historical societies and friends, raising money. And so they have a couple of things coming up. I would encourage everybody to attend the Customs and Classics Motorcycle Show, which is on August 1st, and there'll be food there from the Lions Club. And then in October 1st, there's this bike and barbecue event, which will benefit both the Smith-Harris and the other historic properties in East Lyme. So I encourage everybody to get involved, and even if you're not a biker, bicycle, or if you like barbecue, there's something for you to do. So I encourage you both to go to those events. And that's my report.
So if I can,
Sure.
I
Got-
neglected to mention
Yep.
that I attended the 40th anniversary celebration at the Smith-Harris House on Sunday. The first selectman was busy helping the Lions out at their lobster, chicken bake, and art show, but I was happy to deliver a proclamation on behalf of the town declaring Sunday, July 3rd as Smith-Harris House Day. And there were about 20 people there, including members of the commission, and there was delicious cake, and it was a wonderful celebration recognizing some great people and a wonderful structure in our community. So
40 years.
40 years,
That-
indeed.
That's the town's museum. Thank you, Mrs. Cheeseman. And I'll cross that one off my list because the list was getting longer. Terrific. I'll make a somewhat brief report if I can. We just went through the 4th of July holiday, 3-day weekend with perfect weather and very little incident. I'll say that while the beaches were busy and our downtown was busy, reports from Parks and Rec that at very few moments of the weekend did we run out of parking. If we did run out of parking at one beach, we directed people to another beach, and most people were accommodated. Of course, when you come to a crowded beach at 1 in the afternoon on a 4th of July, and it's the busiest beach day of the year, you should expect crowds. It's a testament. We just wonderful things are happening in this town, and our people are getting out and coming downtown, and other people are visiting, and that's a good thing. I can't read my writing, so I'll skip over that one. I'll skip over that one too. The farmers market's every Thursday. I don't have to read that. Every Thursday down on Methodist Street, and I applaud the Niantic Main Street group. They're doing a great job attracting different food vendors and great thing happening there. The Sub-Base celebrated their 100th birthday, their exact 100th birthday, which was June 21st. 1916 would have been their birthday, and then the date of birth. So they celebrated 100 years on June 21st with a big celebration. I was fortunate and honored to be part of that. Of course, we had the Lobster Fest this weekend on the grounds. The Lions did a remarkable job pumping out tons of food, lobsters, chicken, in their food court. And, of course, the great Arts and Crafts Festival went off without a hitch, and I applaud them. We had a very successful selling of our bonding for the year. It came at a very tough time with the Brexit thing going on in Great Britain, in the European Union. It happened the same day, yet we were able to sell our bonds because our town is attractive and we have some good credit. We also did some refinancing, if you will, rebonding of some of our older bonds, which in the long run will save the town $300,000 of financing costs, which is terrific. We have some ribbon cuttings coming up tomorrow, the Thursday. Marvel Homes moved, the home decorating business moved from several decade run in New London. They're coming and are going to be at Flanders Four Corners in the big building. That's going to be at 4 o'clock tomorrow, ribbon cutting, and they always feed me when I'm there, so I suppose you can come too, and there's always snacks at these things. Bayside, the building downtown, they're going to have a ribbon cutting. I think there's been a ribbon cutting at each one of those individual businesses, but we're going to celebrate the fact that project is now over. People live upstairs, retail downstairs. There is parking in the back, and it's a very, very attractive addition to our main street. So the Bayside ribbon cutting will be on Celebrate East Lyme Day, which is July 16th, and I believe that's at 10 a.m. and if it's not 10, it's 11, but I believe it's one of those if it's in the morning. So Celebrate East Lyme is on July 16th. The Farm Day, the annual Agriculture Day, is on the 17th, which is a great thing, and I think 3 farms are participating way up at the top of the town. Go check that out. The East Lyme Regional Theater celebration is on the 15th. So another busy weekend coming up next weekend. The 15th, the celebration. They are leasing space from the Masonic Temple group, and they got the downstairs now, and that's their where they practice and learn dance routines and singing routines, and they have a place to call home, which is a great thing. The Board of Education voted to pull back on the school project that was slated to go forward. We had a very lengthy and interesting discussion last time, and I think they judged that there just wasn't a whole lot of passion for the plan that they had forwarded to us for consideration. Not the plan, but the paperwork they were going to submit for the plan that would have come at a later date. I think they're going to regroup, reconstitute a design committee and start that process again. Ramagna Road, which is where the Public Works used to have their operation, which is the corner of Ramagna Road and Roxbury Road, and is that still Flanders Road, 156, right next to Gordon Pond as you're coming toward the downtown. We are in the process of demolishing 2 buildings, 2 white buildings down at the lower part of the property. We're going to regrade that property, replant that property, and make it look much more attractive for the people passing by, and of course the people that live. And that is, that's a residential neighborhood. So happy about that, and I'm happy to make good on that. We received a $200,000 grant, and I'm very pleased to report that the Department of Economic development, did DECD, granted us $200,000. That's because that was for the mobile station, 224 Main Street, the former mobile station that we now own. That is to demolish the building and to go and remediate any toxins, toxic materials, any tanks, anything buried underneath the building. We've already identified one tank that would have to be removed. Don't forget, we saved $100,000 on the purchase of that property from what it was approved to buy it at. We received a discounted rate to buy that, a negotiated rate. So we have money now to make sure we clean that property up fully. So hopefully we'll be awarded a steep grant. We can go back and make that an attractive property with a park or whatever we decide to put there. Water and Sewer is going to be having a couple public meetings because they're going to be doing some sewer assessments. We've extended the sewer line throughout town to a couple different neighborhoods and projects. So a sewer assessment is going to be coming up. You might be on that list. You may want to check. And First Selectman Luigi, he's the fellow on the top. It looks like Dennis Leary. You know, the comedian Dennis Leary. He really does. I think he's the coolest one up there. No offense, Mr. Formica. His son contacted me. And it's just such a feel-good story that I got to sit back and kind of read his email. He ran through the town. He went to a high school reunion recently and kind of checked out the town and he grew up here on Cove Street, right across the street here, and his dad was first selectman, and by then he was in college and all that. But so he has great pride in his hometown, and so do his brother and his sister. But he just wanted to thank us all for everything we do to continue this tradition of having such a great town. He follows a lot of my social media postings and the town's website, which is very informative. And he's hoping to come back and maybe meet some of us, and just give a pat on the back. His dad, he reports that his dad's was very proud in his last moment, kind of leaving office, was the replacement of the Niantic Bridge. It was a quirky old bridge we had, and I think he had to wait forever for the thing to spin and get over. And when he finally got the state to come up with funding to have that higher bridge, and of course it took years and years to get it done. But First Selectman Luigi, I want to call him Luigi, like he's one of the Mario brothers there, but Luigi, and I did tell his son. When I emailed back, I said, "Your dad looks so cool. He's the coolest one out there." And it's a great pleasure to sit here and look back and think of all those people that we are the benefits of so much. Everywhere I go, people are just thrilled to be a part of East Lyme. We're not perfect. There's problems. There's issues. This is job security, I guess. But people are thrilled to be here, to live here, to volunteer here, to be a part of this community. And we owe it all to a whole generations and generations of people that came before us. And I thank you for all the work that you all put into this and for the decades that we have put in. So with that, are there any other comments from the Board of Selectmen?
Yes, I'd like to ask you about the Board of Ed.
Yes.
Does that mean that they are not going to file any paperwork?
They did not file on June 30th, even though we did approve that we would, we had some kind of resolution that said, if we would have a town meeting and a referendum. They've pulled back on that plan.
Okay, so because they did not meet the June 30th filing date, this is now postponed for a year?
It's postponed for whenever they decide.
But June 30th, 2017 would be the next deadline.
If they want to go ahead and get state funding for a project, the next round of funding deadline would be June 30th, 2017. If they decide that they want to go with the state funding.
I'm just curious, do you happen to know if that was a unanimous vote?
I can't ask the question, but is there a head nod or a... well, you know what?
You have to wait till the end.
Wait till...
I'll go there at the end.
Okay.
Okay, you're coming anyway. Okay. So we'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we do have public delegations, I believe, on our
Yes.
Public comment.
agenda, so public comment, which I think is the same. So, Miss Jamie.
Jamie Bar Shelburne, 31 McElhaney Drive, Niantic. It wasn't a vote, it was just a discussion item.
Oh, thank you.
The July 18th meeting will be the vote. So there was no action taken, it was just a discussion item on the schools. Action will be the July 18th meeting.
Thank you for the clarification. Again, we can't comment on it now, but thank you for clearing that up. I will say that the June 30th deadline has passed, so whatever
We
discussion.
did not file at the June 30th deadline.
Thank you.
That was it, that was all my comment, was just to clarify that.
Thank you. Glad you came. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Oh, sir. Come on up.
My name's Warren Hall, live at 37 Park Place. I've got a complaint, I guess. I try not to be a negative person, but I see you've accomplished by appropriating town money for a project called the band shell, which I don't think has been properly vetted. I've been searching for information on the proposed band shell since at least December of 15. And I have documentation that I emailed the first selectman, Mark Nickerson, for information as to what was proposed or what was going on with the proposal, for any proposal for a band shell. He directed me to email a Mr. D. Putnam of Parks and Recreation. I contacted D. Putnam on 12/11 of 15. I got no response whatsoever. I then sent another email on February 18th of 2016. And again, absolutely no response. Not even a response that he had received the email. And now I've been searching, at least that I can document, since the end of 2015 to find out who and what is on the committee and what their proposals were. I have seen nothing in the paper, no articles, until this morning's article in the Day. First article in the paper. The only other indication I got was about a week and a half ago, there was a public notice in the classified sections for the zoning department's meeting, which is tomorrow night. Now, your first selectmen have already spent the money, and zoning hasn't even approved it. Now, I'm a little irritated in that I don't think there's been any public input to this, and I would like to have had some input. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
No
Thank
comments?
you. We
No
can't
questions?
make comments. We don't make comments to public
Thank you.
comments. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Elizabeth Murphy, 30 Saunders Drive. I have a list, and it's a weird one. I got a list of almost everything. But to begin with, you were just talking about Barbara and Dick, well, you were just talking about Dick Lucci. And both Barbara and Dick Lucci spent an awful lot of years working for this
What's the
town.
date?
And I don't remember how many years Barbara was judge of probate.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody in the audience does, but I don't.
Many years.
I'm guessing it was about 20-something, wasn't it? I think it was. Anyway, they did an awful lot of work for the town, and we're very happy when they were living here. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this lease between the Friends of Samuel Smith and the town, I'm really concerned about because the Friends of Samuel Smith hasn't seen it. We haven't looked at it and we haven't read it. So I don't know how the Board of Selectmen can take action on something that I guess is binding to somebody when they haven't even seen it, let alone said, I like it, I don't like it, I hate it. I mean, we just haven't seen it. There was a draft that came out well over a month ago and was sent back with some questions, and that's the last thing we've seen and have been waiting for. That's my question on that. And you guys were all looking at me like I'm a nut, which I am. But in fairness, I don't understand how you can approve a lease that the other party hasn't even seen. That makes no sense. I don't know. Guess I'm losing it. Number 3 is for Selectman Nickerson, and I maybe have missed quite what he said, but he said, talking about insurance for the houses and the Lee House insurance and stuff, some insignificant pieces of property and stuff, which I'll grant you we have at the Samuel Smith House, but we also, and I'm not sure that you're aware, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of in valuables and furniture at the Lee House, which the Lee House does insure. Also, I'm also not sure that you're aware that Samuel Smith has been granted through the Historic Properties and the Connecticut Trust for Historic Preservation another $20,000. This is $40,000 that we've gotten for that house to do more archaeological digs and investigation into that property. So I think it's something that this board should be aware of and maybe spend a little bit more time thinking about. But I seriously don't know about this lease, and I would question how you can take action on something that the other party's never seen.
Anyone, any other comments? Board comments?
Yes, that was why I specifically asked the question, whether or not, after it was mentioned that the attorney representing the Samuel Smith House had agreed to this lease.
They did.
I specifically asked that question.
And the answer is yes.
And so I said, I assume then if their attorney approved the lease, then it was okay.
Correct.
So
No
We can't-
paperwork whatsoever.
Well, we've sent it, okay? I know it wasn't received properly from one of your members, but we can't have this discussion either. The lease was sent out. It was finalized between the two attorneys. And if they don't like the lease, we can renegotiate the lease, but this is the lease that we've agreed to. We've been having, if we've had 10 discussions, I'm probably underestimating, about this lease over the last 2 years. These are the terms that they wished, that they had agreed to, that they were looking for. That most of this was based on a lease that they provided to us, and in its structural form. And of course, the lawyers got involved, and words were changed. And but this was vetted, and of course, they can't vote on a lease until we have voted on a lease that is acceptable to the town.